Alright, so I finally had a chance this weekend. Actually Sunday I really didn't do shit. My whole weekend revolved around chisel plowing, and Mother Nature made sure that it was too muddy to do that, so Sunday I just kind of took the day off, which really annoyed the shit out of me because I don't like doing that. I'd rather have something to do. But regardless, Sunday I actually had a chance to sit down and figure up my bushels and yield average and yada yada yada, all that fancy crap. So it's time for that video. So this is obviously a talking video, so if you don't like that, show yourself to the door. Don't be bitching about it in the comments. So we'll start off with beans, because corn we're going to get into just a hair. So for beans this year, ran a total of 3,489.8 bushels. Beans averaged out to 43.9, which is actually higher than what I thought they were going to go. Average test weight was 57.6, which is pretty damn good, and average moisture was 11.2, and the averages on those were over that whole 3,400 bushel. And on the beans, my best field, I did forget to go through and write this, so I got to come back and find it. Bear with me here. 43.6, 53.5, 54.1. I think that one's it. 56.9. That one might be it. Yeah. So my best bean field went 56.9 at 11.9%, 57.3 test weight. Worst bean field only went, well, it would have been my grandma's, and that field only went 14-ish. But that was only 2 acres, so that didn't hurt me much. The deer tore the hell out of that field. But that being said, so the 2619s, which were a 2.6 bean, the vast majority of them were treated. So like this field treated, well, that was my grandma's field, that we're gonna forget about that one. This field treated went 43.6, which this is that first field I cut that has woods on all 4 sides. So that field is pulling about average for what it does with beans, so there was nothing really hurt there. This field 53.5. This field 54.1. This field 56.9. And then I think that was, oh, that's the field that I completely abandoned because the deer just ate it off. So then here we switch from 2619 treated to just 2619s. Now we drop down to 38.8, 42.4, 43.9, 44.4. So, oh, and these are 2960s. So this field, and this field are both 2960. So these were 2 9s. But because I didn't have them planted in the same field side by side, it's hard to draw a good conclusion from it. But the treated beans were out yielding the untreated beans by like 8 to 10 bushel an acre. So I don't know if you can chalk that whole thing up to the treatment, or because the treated beans got planted a little earlier. Well, when did I switch? When was that last field of treated beans planted? Next year when I do this, I'm separating the bean and the cornfields rather than just doing them in the order I planted them. So this would be the last field of treated beans, and that got planted May 21st. Nope, sorry. It got planted May 20th. So, we go from May 20th to when did I get back to planting beans? The 29th. And it seems like, well, we can go over here. So we got a half-inch of rain on the 20th. We got a 4/10, so yeah. After the 29th, which is when I got back to planting beans, we had a little morning shower on June 2nd, which wasn't even enough for me to get a reading off of it. So the next decent rain we got to get those beans started would have been June 7th. So it could just be that those earlier planted those beans that got planted 9 days earlier had more rain on them. I don't know. I definitely think that it's worth chalking at least some of that better yield up to the bean treatment. Although not all of it. I think some of it might have to do with rain getting it started, but it's something to think about. So that's where the beans ended up. Corn shelled a total of 11,027.6 bushel. Corn average, this number gets important, 172.3 bushel an acre. Average test weight 57.4, average moisture 16.6. So, remember that real quick, and we're going to go back here and look at last year. Last year, corn average 165.2. So, my corn average jumped 7.1 bushel an acre in a drought year. I am going to chalk that up 100% to that new planter. And if you took that 7.1 bushel, you took that 7.1 bushel jump, times it, I think I multiplied it by, $6.30, I think. It's actually a little under what I was averaging for corn I was hauling in, but it was a decent number for it was a good number to say this. So if you take that 7 bushel an acre increase times $6.30 over the acres that I ran, that planter paid for 3/4 of itself this year just in that 7 bushel increase. It probably would have paid itself off completely had we got more rain, but I know for a fact, because I've used it long enough, that if I had used that 540 this year, nothing against the 540, it is a really good planter in an average year, or in a what I would average normal whatever year of precipitation. Where that planter really shows its weaknesses is in a very wet year, especially a very wet spring, or a very dry year. That's where that planter likes to run in the middle. It's not good at extremes. So I guarantee you, had I used the 540 this year, this number right here would probably be down closer to 135 to 140. Guarantee it. I would bet a paycheck on it. So, new planter, definitely putting in work this year. I have never grown corn this good, and this is a drought year, so I can't wait to see what that thing will do in a normal year, or even an above average rainfall year, as long as it's a dry spring. I don't want an above average wet rainfall spring. Screw those are no fun. So with that being said, the best corn this year was obviously down in the muck. Was 213, and that averaged out at 16.9% moisture and 57.3 test weight. And if I remember right, the worst corn I ran was actually that first field that I shelled. Nope, it was not the first field that I shelled. That field went 153. So it would probably be that guy right there, 147.5. I don't think I shelled anything under that. Yeah, so 147.5 was my worst field of corn this year, which that's nothing. That's not bad at all for the rainfall we had. So this was definitely a good year to make a switch, make the planter switch. It paid off. So I'm glad that worked out the way it did. So that's basically where we're at as far as yield goes. Now we have to come to this year's rainfall, because this is where numbers start to explain themselves, especially the bean numbers. So this was the one, this one you guys saw last year. This was my rain gauge numbers that I got. So last year, between basically May 1st and the end of August, we had 19 3/4 inches. For some reason, I don't know why I stopped at the end of August. I should have went into September on this one. So that's what I got to remember to do next year, is do a better job of starting and stopping, taking my measurements at the same time. But anyway, so basically this one is from the beginning of May to the end of August. This one is from basically the middle of May. I should have started a little earlier, because we would have had a little bit more rainfall before the 15th. All the way through the end of September. So you add it up, there's actually more time in this guy right here. Now, this is only at my house. There are some fields that have gotten less rain than this. There are some fields that have gotten a little bit more rain than this, but not by much. And I had a couple showers like these two right here. I just marked them as spotty because it might have rained at my house and I got over here and everything was dry. And then like that guy right there, like I say, it rained, but it did it so little it didn't even put anything in the rain gauge. It was basically a heavy dew. So basically from the middle of May all the way to the end of September, which basically the last 2 weeks of September, almost like the second week to the end of September, those rains really don't do a whole lot, especially as dry as we were, because everything was already dying and drying down at that point. But basically added an entire month of measuring onto this one, and we only got 14.1 inches. So as far as usefulness, you can almost take that 1.8 inches out for September, which drops you down to 12 point something. So we are off that much from last year. So we are almost, well, a tick over 4 inches less than last year, adding in September. If you take out September, basically, you're a tick over 6 inches less than last year. So you got to kind of look how things came as well. So in May, we had basically 1 5/8 inches. June, we had 2.1. July, which this is where corn got saved. Corn got saved in July. Had we not got this rain in July, corn would have been screwed. August, we got 1.3. This is where the beans got hurt. We'll come back to here in a second. And then September, we got 1.8. But like I say, because we were so dry up to this point, this rain didn't really do any good. Maybe the first week of September, we did a little good. But, well, and if you look at it, it didn't even rain the first week of September. It basically started the third week of September. So you might as well figure that 1.8 inches in September did zero good. So May, between the 15th and the 27th was when that came. June, we had, well, might as well figure the first measurable rain came on the 6th. And the last measurable rain came on the 26th. So, and I wish I should have got some temperatures down for this, because basically the beginning of June we started getting heat and it didn't go away. So like a lot of these little 1/10 inch rains, 2/10 rains, even some of these 1/2 inch rains, by the time they came, we were already so hot and so damn dry. They were that water was evaporating almost faster than it was soaking in. You'd get a 1/2 inch of rain one afternoon, and the next day you'd swear to God it never rained at all. So then we come to July. Between the 1st, I'll take that back. On the 4th and the 6th, we got basically 2.2 inches. Now, both of these storms came, and it dumped that rain in less than, it was less than 3 hours. I mean, these were both deluge rains. So you figure probably half of it ran off. Although as dry as we were, it might not have been that much. It might have taken it. So that right there started to help the corn. These 3 rain events that we got between the 16th and the 23rd during pollination, these rains right here are what saved it. Had we not got these 3 rains right here, the first one on the 16th was 3/4 of an inch. On the 17th, we got 1 inch, and then on the 23rd, we got 2 inches. Had we not got these rains, or had they been the 2/10, 1/4 inch, 3/10 that we'd been getting, corn would have suffered a lot more drastically than what it already did. So basically, those 3 days in July are what saved our corn crop. Hands down, without a doubt. Once we got through pollination, we had enough little rains left in it that it carried through and we got grain fill done. But these 3 rains right here are what saved it. 100% without a doubt. That's what made the corn crop, was these 3 right here. So up through here, up to the end of July, we were getting enough rain to keep the beans going. And the beans were actually looking pretty decent. And they had a lot of pods on them. But you get into August, which is when beans start setting pods. This is where beans got screwed. So our first August rain came on the 3rd. We got 1/4 inch. Our next August rain came on the 8th. We got 3/10. And then we went 21 days without our next rain. That 21 days is what killed the bean crop. Right there at the end of, or middle of August. That was when we started seeing pods start aborting beans. Start aborting pods completely. That right there, that 21 days in August with no rain, is what killed bean crop. If we'd got even a 1/2 inch in there somewhere, you probably could have added at least 5 bushel an acre to the beans, I would be willing to bet. But because we didn't, that's what killed the bean crop. Now, I feel fortunate that my beans yielded above 40. Because there are some guys that I was talking to, well, I've heard a lot of bean numbers, and I've heard numbers ranging anywhere from 5 to 60. And I haven't really heard a whole lot above 60. And normally, especially up north of here, you get on some of the guys with the more open irrigated fields. 75, 80 bushel beans are nothing to achieve up there. And you're hearing a lot of 45, 50. I mean, 45 bushel beans are pretty much the common number around here. 40 to 45 bushel. So I am very fortunate. Feel very fortunate that I managed to get what I got out of all that. So, and then like I say, we get Oh, from the 29th of August, our next rain came September 11th. That was a 1/2 inch. And then I'd say from our next rain was on the 13th, we got a 1/10. But I'd say from the 13th on, any of them rains weren't doing jack squat as far as making a crop. They were just probably knocking leaves off the beans at that point and helping them dry down. Was really all those September rains did. So, but that's kind of the year in review. Obviously the year's not over yet, so don't know how much money we made, but we very obviously made money. Hopefully we can do it all again next year. So, but I know that this type of video isn't everybody's thing, but I had guys asking if I was going to do it, so here it is. Obviously I was going to do it anyway, regardless if anybody wanted it, because that's how it goes, but, so hopefully that all made sense, or is at least clear as mud. I kind of went through it rather quickly. Today I found the shift linkage that I need for the 112. Found that on eBay. If you search for Ford 120 rather than Jacobson or Minneapolis Moline, you find a lot more parts. Still haven't found a grill insert yet, but that's later down the road. Will make it look pretty. I just right now want it to run and drive and move. So I got that shift link coming. We can make it move. I'm going to go up to Deere tomorrow and get some low viscosity high guard for it. Figure if that stuff's good enough for combine hydros, it ought to be plenty good enough for that little hydro in that garden tractor. So I got that going. I am hoping this week, because the snow already started melting. Yesterday we went from 24 degrees to today it was damn near 50. So the snow's melting at a very accelerated rate, which is going to make a nice muddy mess for us. But I'm hoping that the snow's gone by hopefully Wednesday, Thursday time frame, because I want to go around and we can look at the wheat. All the wheat's up out of the ground. It was looking good. We need to go take a look at the wheat, see how that's going. And we just take you guys over and we can look at the hay field, which is looking really good. But unfortunately right now it's all under about 3-4 inches of slush. So until that's gone, can't really see a whole lot. It'll at least be gone by the weekend, because Friday it's supposed to rain. So whatever doesn't melt before Friday, the rain will finish it off. I priced out tires today for the 150, and surprisingly, they are down. I priced out a set earlier this spring. It would have been really early this spring. And at that point, I just priced out Carlisle's, and Carlisle's were almost $1,300 a tire. Today, when I priced them out, the Carlisle's were $1,027 a tire, and Firestone 23 degree Sats were $1,100 and some change. So I guess at this point I got to make the decision for another $75. I might as well just buy the Firestones and be done with it. But I'm gonna wait till after the first of the year, because I want all the dust to settle on the bank account and see where everything falls there. And at that point, I'll make the decision: do I just go ahead and bite the bullet and buy all 8 and be done with it, or just buy the inner 4? If I can get it done for under $9,000, I might as well just buy all 8 and be done with it and not have to worry about it again. But we shall see. But I gotta get the Moline buttoned up so I can get it out of the barn and get it over to my house. And then that will probably be done till spring, maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided how far I want to take that project this winter. But if I can get it running and driving, we're already leaps and bounds ahead of where we started. So I got to get that done. I got to get the mini excavator serviced so that we can start, or so that that's ready to go when I need to start using it. And depending on what ground conditions do, the weather's supposed to pretty much stay warm now for at least the next few weeks. Naturally, it looks like we got all the snow in November, and then it looks like we're in for a not white Christmas again. But that could change. But regardless, probably shot my chances of spreading lime, because the ground's obviously not going to freeze if it stays above freezing, and it's going to be nice and muddy from all the snow melt. So probably not going to end up getting any lime spread this fall, which really sucks. So the next project will be, if the ground conditions allow it, will probably be to start working on fence lines. Because I got two that I really want to get done. I got more that could be worked on, but I got two that I really want to get done. So, and then obviously we got the hay equipment to bring through the shop and some other odds and ends. So basically that's where things stand at the moment, but we'll just have to see how they unfold. So I guess that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.